Good morning. This is Mr. Parks from Risen Christ Lutheran School, and I have another video for third grade for lesson 4.5 from Into Math. This lesson we're going to be working with eights. Yesterday's lesson we worked with counting by seven. So we've probably already seen the answer to this particular math fact. We're going to do something a little bit differently to find the answer. Since we're working with an even number, we could actually work on doubling again. And so the picture that I showed yesterday of the calendar, we could cut it right across the middle and use doubling to find the answer, but we did something slightly different. So what we want to do is we are working with an 8-foot long measuring tape. We want to find the distance around the rectangle is measuring 4 tapes. How many feet are there in 4 measuring tapes? So we can skip count by eights 4 times. So our first number we would land on as we count would be 8. And then we're going to keep going. 64, 6, 8. That gives us 16. And then we would keep going. We would next land on 24. And the last number we would land on, oops, I missed my comma. There we go, would be 32. Now, if we're doing anything with number lines, I try to remind the students we must start at 0. Occasionally, I find third graders that they somehow find the right answer, but they don't draw all the groups, and they start right here. When I'm telling them they have to get on 8, that means they need to skip from 0 to 8 as the first skip and then keep going. So I occasionally see some interesting things when we're working on that. So any chance we get to practice with that would be a great thing. So if you're watching your student working on this at home and you notice that, just remind them they're supposed to start at 0 and end up on the number that we are counting by, which in this case is 8. So that would give us 32 feet. Our next one, we are going to be working with 7 meters and 8 meters, and we need to know the area of the stage. We get that by multiplying our numbers. So we are going to use a doubling strategy. We're going to use the distributive property and break this apart into 7 times 4 plus 7 times 4. Now last week when we were working on this, and we were working with 4s or 6s, we would actually cut it down even smaller than that. If we get comfortable with working on our facts for 4s, I would recommend doing this. Otherwise, I might recommend something a little different, like we could start with 7 times 5 instead, and then we could go ahead and do what we did yesterday, where we would continue to add 7s to that. But if you know your multiplication facts for 7 times 4, we can go ahead and use that to help us, and we can double. And so that would give us 28 plus 28 equals 56. And so our unit for that would be square, and then we could use feet. I'm trying to draw a period to draw my abbreviation, but it's a little bit tricky sometimes to get that to work on the computer. So these are the ideas that we're going to be working with. Most students are not going to have their math facts for 8s memorized. So the big things would be try to figure out your first couple math facts. We can use 5 as a starting point as we work our way up, or we can use doubling. So you'll notice as we work through the homework problem, they'll have most of their answers for all the math facts for 8s. So if there is an error early on and they're trying to count up by 8s, that might cause errors on some of the higher numbers as well. So if you're working with your student on this, and just watch really closely. If they're going to start with like 8 times 1 equals 8 and then work their way up, if they don't get the right number for the second one or the third one, the ones that come after that are going to be thrown off a little bit. So just keep that in mind. We are looking for all even numbers, because anytime we multiply by an even number, our product has to be an even number. So if you see any odd numbers written down, that's not going to work today. So 8 times 5, of course, or 8 times 3, 8 times 7, those are all going to be even numbers because we're multiplying by an even number being 8. So If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me by text or email for my Risen Christ students, and I'll be happy to help you as much as I can. Hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.